So, Kate, today's sponsor, Wondercide, is the leader in proven to work plant-based bug sprays for pets, families, homes, and yards. And, I know sometimes people see plant-based and they're like, okay, but does it really work? Do you ever think that?
I do think that. I tend to be like a little bit of a skeptic. And I actually will say I'm very grateful to Wondercide because they've proven that skepticism wrong.
Totally. Because in Wonderside's case, it definitely works. And they have something for everyone. They have shampoo bars, which are Kate tested and approved.
Yeah, but they're for your dogs. They're for dogs, but I will give it an endorsement. As you know, that is my version of an endorsement.
They've got flea and tick sprays for your yard and home, or flea collars if that's more your jam. Wondercide is for dogs and cats, made with natural essential oils, and you can use it worry-free around the whole family. I just love how quickly it all works. It takes 30 seconds or less to apply and comes in 4 scents: cedarwood, lemongrass, rosemary, and peppermint, and they all smell amazing. I love the rosemary. I mean, I like all of them, but my absolute favorite is the rosemary, and I know, Kate, you love the peppermint.
I do. Well, I'm a mint.
You do love a mint.
And what's a mint fan? I love the smell of mint.
Yeah.
I also really just want to shout out their bug sprays for your skin.
Yes.
Perfect in the summer.
Try Wondercide Flea and Tick Spray for 20% off at wondercide.com/forever35 and be sure to use code forever20 for 20% off. That's Wondercide with a C.
I know firsthand, Dory, and I'm sure you do too, that feeling good and looking good when it comes to shoes doesn't always go hand in hand. There are some beautiful shoes that do not feel good on the feet.
Oh, don't I know it?
Luckily, we have Vionic. Vionic is perfect for anybody who wants great looking, comfortable footwear that also is stylish. Like I'm talking, Dory, I can wear my Vionic sneakers. They're black. I can wear them out to a fancy dinner, but I could also walk like 2 miles with my kids in these shoes.
Oh, the best.
Right?
Yes.
Vionic wants you to feel so stress-free in these shoes that they have a 30-day wear test. Okay. Like, is there anything better than a shoe company who lets you actually try on the shoes?
I mean, I feel like everyone should have thought of this, but like...
Right? Like, let
Yes.
us wear them so we know. So you can return them for a full refund within 30 days if you're not happy with them, even if you've worn them outside. Like, imagine that.
Amazing.
But listen, like, I'm telling you, you're going to love them. I actually dressed mine up. Anthony and I went to see a show downtown at the Amundsen Theater, and I wore my Vionic sneakers and they looked very fancy and I was comfortable the whole time.
Oh, what a dream.
With the 3-zone comfort and ultimate arch support, this shoe is your foot's dream come true, especially if you have plantar fasciitis, which these shoes are clinically proven to help with. You never have to choose between style and comfort again because of Vionic's modern classics and fresh trends. They feel as good as they look. You can enjoy free shipping at vionicshoes.com with promo code FOREVER35. Hello and welcome to Forever 35, a podcast about the things we do to take care of ourselves. I'm Kate Spencer.
And I am Dory Shafrir.
And we are not experts.
No, but we are two friends who like to talk a lot about serums.
Quickie remindery, visit our website, Forever 35 Podcast, for links to everything we mentioned on the show. You can find us on Twitter at Forever 35 Pod and Instagram at Forever 35 Podcast. And you can join the Forever 35 Facebook group where the password is serums. You can also shop our fave prods at shopmyshelf.us.forever35. Nope, /forever35.
Yep. /forever35, baby. You can also sign up for the Forever 35 newsletter at forever35podcast.com/newsletter. And you can call or text us at 781-591-0390. And our email is forever35podcast@gmail.com.
Okay, can I tell you something very strange that my daughter introduced me to yesterday?
Yes, please.
So my children both love ASMR.
Okay.
They have somehow discovered it because clearly my parental monitoring of their YouTube consumption has gone downhill in the pandemic. They didn't even use YouTube at the start of this pandemic. We were like, no screens. And now we're like, screens everywhere. COVID changed a lot. But Dory, I'll tell you, so they love they like make themselves ASMR voice memos. Like they love ASMR. But what I did not know existed, because I do not connect with ASMR. I know for some people it's very relaxing and comforting. For me, it like gives me the heebie-jeebies. Okay. So I don't partake. Mm-hmm, so I didn't know that there was like ASMR kind of like role playing.
Oh.
Like not in a particularly adult way, but what my daughter introduced me to yesterday was ASMR skincare routines. So people, it's wild. So like she had one where it was like a big sister was teaching a little sister about skincare, but the whole time she's whispering like this. She's like, let me tell you all about skincare.
Oh my
God. Then the product will like crackle in the background. This is me doing ASMR for Dory. I've never heard of such a thing. And it was like a strange combination of skincare, which you and I like to talk about, and Indeed. ASMR, which for many people is like a part of self-soothing.
Okay.
So I am curious if anyone else has ever heard anything like this, because a quick search tells me that it is all over the internet. Like ASMR beauty videos are a thing.
Wow. And your kids are into them.
And unbeknownst to me, my 11-year-old child and the 9-year-old too love listening to ASMR skincare routines.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So
this
Google
is
it
fun.
if you never have.
Do you know of any channels or, people that they especially like to follow?
Okay. You know what? I should have asked for recommendations. I had my daughter play me a bunch last night because we were doing a puzzle and she was like, let's listen to some ASMR. And then I was like, what is happening? Like, this is wild. So I will ask her for a couple recommendations and I will include those in our show notes on our website.
Okay. This is exciting.
And then maybe I'll make my own ASMR skincare routine.
I bet you could, Kate. I bet you could.
I would also love to know for people who I do like I don't know if you consume any ASMR stuff, Dory. I do love the soap cutting videos. Those, and Sam Hunio, our producer, also loves soap cutting videos. And I find there's so much satisfaction in the sound and the tiny pieces, but I don't physically respond to a whisper. So I would love if there are people who really do use ASMR as part of their self-care. I would love to hear from them just to kind of learn more about what it's like, because this is new to me.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I have nothing to add here because I'm not a consumer nor a producer of ASMR content.
Have you ever listened to it to see if your body reacts to it?
I have listened to it. It's not like my thing.
Same. I explained to my daughter, I was like, it's like cilantro. Some people's, their physical genetics make it so cilantro tastes like soap. And for other people, it tastes delicious.
Yes.
And this is my amazing comparison. Cilantro and ASMR. The same thing.
Well, I mean, it's like anything, right? Some things resonate with people and some things don't. And that's what makes us human.
Speaking of resonating, can I throw a couple gentle content recommendations out into the ether?
Yes. Please.
Okay. So number one is Girls 5 Eva on Peacock. I've talked about the first season, which I loved. The second season is currently out. Episodes are coming out. I just started it. It's so good. And it is Schitt's Creekish to me in that it's just funny and light and lovely. And in these times, isn't that what we all need?
Yes, I think so.
I mean, rhetorical question. And then the second recommendation is a podcast that I believe launched kind of in late March. It's called The Antidote. It's hosted by two women who are comedy writers and performers. And the concept of the podcast is providing an antidote to the stress of the outside world. So while they also talk about current events, they also provide like very lovely, calming recommendations for pop culture, for skincare. They have really great interviews. I was looking for a podcast to listen to while I cooked dinner, and some friends are friends with the hosts and had recommended it. And like every podcast is a true crime podcast. Literally, I was scrolling through like the top 100, and it's like either a wacky conservative dude or like true, like murders and martinis, which actually might be the name of a podcast, but like everything is like murder. And I was like, I don't want that. So I listened to, Busy Phillips is Doing Her Best and a lot, which is a very long podcast that gets me through like 3 dinner cooking sessions. Busy and Casey have like 3-hour episodes, which I love. But The Antidote, everybody, if you need a nice, gentle, fun, smart, thoughtful, funny podcast, The Antidote.
I have also been listening to a new podcast.
Lay it on me.
I guess it's sort of a true crime podcast, but it's not a murder podcast. It's Heidi World. About
Heidi Fleiss?
About Heidi Fleiss.
Oh, that sounds good.
It's hosted by Molly Lambert, who is a really smart and funny writer here in Los Angeles, who's written for like every publication you probably read. And she put together this really engaging podcast about Heidi Fleiss. And it's one of those like, not like everything you thought you knew about Heidi Fleiss is wrong, but there is a lot of background and context that I just had no idea about. And also like, I love a deep dive into like kind of seedy 80s LA. You know?
Yes, I
like
do.
Seedy, but like rich 80s LA.
Delicious. So fun.
So
there's like a fantasy element to that,
yes,
even when it's real.
Totally. So I am enjoying that podcast. So I recommend it if you're looking for, I think it's 10 episodes. It's a short podcast. It's not one of these podcasts that you're going to commit to for years and years, like Forever 35. It's, you listen to it and then you're done, but I am enjoying it. So I just wanted to put that out there as a recommendation.
I have another one to throw into the pile.
Okay, let's hear it.
Scamfluencers.
Oh, okay.
Which is hosted by Sachi, I forget their last name,
Cool.
Who works at BuzzFeed. Sachi Cool.
Mm-hmm. Hosted
by Sachi Cool and Sarah Hagee. And a friend of the pod, Sarah Ennie, produces on it. And it's really good. It's like...
Can I ask a question?
Yes, Dory.
How does it differ from, say, Scam Goddess?
I haven't listened to a lot of Scam Goddess. It's scams in the like digital influencer space.
Okay, so it has a specific focus.
It has a fluencer focus, which
Got it.
love. Like, I love influencer scams.
Totally.
Modern scams. Like, we've got our Heidi Fleiss scam of the 80s, and I love a modern scam. And the nice thing about Scamfluencers is it's like 3 episodes per scam. So kind of similar to what you were saying.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
You're not like in it for the long haul.
Right. And also you can like dip in and out. Like if you don't love one of the scams they're talking about, you can just like listen to a different one.
Yes, exactly. So, sometimes people ask us for our podcast recs, and I don't think we planned on sharing today, but here we've got 3.
Yeah, there you go.
Look at us. Should I be listening to Scam Goddess?
I don't listen to it regularly, but I have enjoyed the episodes that I listen to. I really The host, Lacey Mosley, is that her last name? Yeah, Lacey Mosley, who's an actress. She's so funny, and I really she's a great host. So I do really enjoy listening to her.
My friend, I should say, if we're talking about scams, my friend Katie also hosts a great scam podcast called Scam Wow.
Oh, what's the premise of that one?
She digs into all sorts of scams. She's a scammer deep diver. She's very knowledgeable about it. And I really appreciate her punny ShamWow. The play on ShamWow in her title always makes me laugh every time I think about her podcast.
I wonder what the next scam, they were true crime podcasts. Now I feel like we're in the age of the scammer, right? There was Inventing Anna on Netflix. There are all these scam podcasts. What's going to be the next thing?
Well, I mean, you are the journalist who originally wrote about the hipster grifter, one of the late aughts most iconic scammers.
Yeah. And now she has a deal with Mindy. She's a deal with Mindy Kaling.
I mean, how wild is that? If you could travel back in time and be like, hey, don't worry, everybody. This person who scammed the world is going to have a development deal.
I know. But look, America, right?
Oh, America. What a place. Listen, shifting gears a little bit, I like what I'm hearing from you, that you are moving your body every day this month.
Okay, so this was inspired by Peloton instructor Robin Arzon. Arzone? How do you say her last name? Arzone?
I say Arzon, Robin Arzon.
Okay. This was inspired by Peloton instructor Robin Arzon, who I guess has done this kind of challenge before. I think she did it in December, and it's not an official Peloton challenge. It's not in the app or anything. I think she just announces it on her Instagram. And it's basically just the challenge is to move your body for 30 minutes or 3 miles a day for all of June. And this really spoke to me because, as we have been discussing on this show, I've been feeling a little bit in a body movement rut. And I liked the idea of just you know what? You just got to move your body. It can really be anything. There's no pressure to do a program or reach a goal. It's just this is it. And so I was you know what? I can do this. So I'm doing it, and we're on day 3, but
okay.
I've done it. I've done it every day. So I'm 3 for 3.
And what have been thus far your 3 movement selections?
Okay, so the first day I did a 20-minute strength class on the Peloton app, and then a 20-minute yoga class for a total of 40 minutes.
Wow. Overachiever.
And then yesterday I had my group tennis class, which was an hour long. So that was my thing for yesterday. And then today I had a tennis lesson that was also an hour long. So that was my thing for today.
I love it, Dory.
Well, thanks, Kate. Also, you know what? I like that it's half an hour. Half an hour feels doable, but you can still get something done in half an hour and feel good. I don't have to rearrange my day to get it in. So I'm feeling good about it.
Dory, proud of you. Happy for
Thank you, Kate.
Would love to go on a gentle hike with you if you want an activity.
I'd love that. Kate, can we do that?
That'd be fun. Yeah.
Okay, let's go on a gentle hike.
I would love it. Should we go to Runyon and really look for the celebs?
Runyon does not feel gentle to me.
It does. It also has no sun coverage.
It has no sun coverage. Parking is a nightmare. It's such a scene. It's
here in Los Angeles.
You're just walking up a sidewalk, essentially. It doesn't feel like you're in nature, really.
The strange thing about this city, if you've never been here, and I hadn't really been here until we moved, is that it's very hilly, which I didn't really we have mountains. And so just all around the city are hikes basically in, behind apartment buildings. And if you've never heard of Runyon, it's kind of the seen and be seen.
I was just going to say, it's where to go to see and be seen.
But it's like if you're an influencer. I did once see Courtney Cox on a hike in Runyon Canyon.
Oh, there you go.
But for the most part, like, I think we're looking for the like Nick Vials of the world.
Totally.
Well, now that we have psychoanalyzed Runyon Canyon, should we introduce our guest?
Yes, let's do it.
Well, Dory, today we are talking to, dare I say, an icon of the comedy space.
I would say the comedy and the writing space.
Our guest today is Jessi Klein. She is a writer, an actress, a stand-up comedian, born and raised in New York. She has appeared on shows like Showbiz Show with David Spade, VH1's Best Week Ever. She's performed stand-up on Comedy Central's Premium Blend. You know her as the head writer and executive producer of Inside Amy Schumer. She's really done it all. She does voices and animation, and she now has 2 best-selling books of essays. And her most recent book is I'll Show Myself Out, Essays on Midlife and Motherhood, which just came out at the end of April. We're so excited to get to talk to Jessi. She's just lovely.
She's great.
Yeah. And her book is really great. And especially if you are a mother or a parent and have not read the first essay in her book about kind of the loss of your identity as a parent, it is, it really gets to your soul. It really gets right in there. And it makes you laugh.
Yeah. So here's Jessi. We're going to take a short break and then we'll come right back.
Now a word from our sponsor, BetterHelp. Look, I don't have to tell you, Dory or listeners, that burnout is real.
Yeah.
It's real. And dare I say, a lot of us are in it right now. And by the time we realize we're experiencing burnout, it often feels like it's too late to do anything about it.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like, at least for me, I prioritize everybody else in my life. I'm going full speed. And then all of a sudden I'm so fried, I can't do anything.
Yeah, I know. It's the worst.
It's the worst. Well, luckily, BetterHelp Online Therapy wants to remind you to prioritize yourself. This has made such an impact for me. Talking with someone can help you figure out what's causing stress in your life, and then they can help you figure out how to handle it. And talking about it can seem scary at first, but in my experience with therapy, it actually makes such a difference just to get stuff off your chest. And what I actually like about BetterHelp specifically is that it's customized online therapy that offers video, phone, and even live chat sessions with your therapist. So you don't have to see anyone on camera if you don't want to. Yes. It's much more affordable than in-person therapy, and you can be matched with a therapist in under 48 hours. And Forever 35 listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/forever35. That's betterhelp.com/forever35.
Kate, I have a question for you.
I'm here. I'm ready to answer.
What is something you've been thinking about getting into recently?
Honestly, and I have not shared this, dance.
Dance. Okay. Well, guess what? Masterclass has a class for that.
I thank God, because I don't know where else to turn.
Well, and if you were into, let's say, philosophy,
okay,
they would have a class for that. And they have a class for learning more about makeup and beauty.
I watched an amazing cocktail mixing class on Masterclass.
Yes.
It was so good. I tend to go for a lot of their food classes.
Yes, their food classes are very good.
So good. I've learned I didn't realize I could learn so much just like watching and reading, but I feel like I've improved significantly.
It's wild. And what's great about Masterclass is you can learn new skills, expand your knowledge, and the schedule is totally flexible to you. I just have to say, nowhere else can you really get this kind of access to some of the most renowned masters of their arts, like Issa Rae, Hillary Clinton, Mariah Carey, Shonda Rhimes, Bobby Brown, Anna Wintour. I mean, the list goes on and on. I've mentioned before that I've been learning poker from Daniel Negreanu, who, if you're not into poker, you might not be familiar with his name, but he's like the Shonda Rhimes of poker.
Okay. I am following. He's a big deal.
He's a big deal, and I have gotten much better.
You know what else I love about Masterclass? That you can dabble. Like,
yes.
You can explore something and see if you're into it. You can go deep. You can do it on your own schedule.
Yes. It's great.
It's so easy.
Yes. And so for $180, you get a year of unlimited access to all of the classes by these renowned masters. That's hundreds of video lessons from more than 100 of today's most brilliant minds that are available to you anytime, anywhere. So we both highly recommend you check out Masterclass. Get unlimited access to every Masterclass. And as a Forever 35 listener, you get 15% off an annual membership. Go to masterclass.com/forever35. That's masterclass.com/forever35 for 15% off Masterclass.
Well, Jessie, welcome to Forever 35. We're so thrilled to have you. I've been listening to your book on audiobook, which has been a real treat because you're such a funny narrator.
And thank you so much for having me. I'm truly honored.
Oh, we're thrilled you're here. So we always kick off our episodes by asking our guests to share a self-care practice, which can be annoying when we put people on the spot like this, but this can really be anything. So I know you are in a very busy time right now with the book coming out. But is there anything that you do in your day-to-day that you consider your self-care?
Oh my gosh. I mean, I feel like I am real trash in the self-care department. I mean, the one thing I will say, which is a bit of a repudiation, is that a word, repudiation, of a thing I wrote in my first book. I wrote a whole chapter in my first book, which was called You'll Grow Out of It, about how much I hate taking baths. And look who's come around. Look who fills that puppy up most nights of the week, gets in there and just stews like a little prune. It's like really sometimes I feel like the only relaxing, nice time in my day. And I used to think it was so gross. I don't know. And now I love taking a bath. I try to fill jugs of water to use to water my plants, so I'm not a complete dumpster fire for using so much water. I forget what uses more water, a shower or a bath.
I think it's a shower, actually.
I think maybe the shower does. I'll just stick with that. Anyway, a bath. That's what I got for you. A bath.
I also have recently come around to baths, Jessie, but I was reminded that like you don't get clean from a bath just by like sitting in the bath.
Oh no. A bath is not about cleanliness at all.
No.
Absolutely, a bath is me. No, you have to shower after you take a bath.
Yeah.
For a minute.
I took a bath the other night, like after I hadn't showered in a couple of days, but it was just like, I need a bath. And then I got out of the bath and I was like, oh, I stink. Like I smell so bad. So that was like a very good reminder that yes, like the bath is not for personal hygiene.
No, I 100% consider it something to be that's making you dirtier, not cleaner. I'm sure you didn't smell and you're being hard on yourself.
Thank you for saying that, but
you know I support.
I did. And you know what? Not that there's anything wrong with smelling, right? Like body odor is great. I don't like the smell. So I personally was like, oh, I'm going to then I sort of cheated and just wet a washcloth and like wipe down my pits.
Yeah, you can do an armpit specific moment.
Thank you.
I think an armpit can safely be cleaned in a bath. I think it's just more like in the full picture of things.
Yes.
I think like, now will I take a bath at the end of the day, which is normally when I'm taking a bath, it is the end of the day. And knowing that I will shower in the morning, I just let that be.
Mm-hmm,
but on the off chance sometimes very sad moment that I begin the day with a bath.
Oh, I love a morning bath.
Oh.
There can be something quite sad, I feel like, about beginning the day with a bath. But as someone who is 46 and just has like so many orthopedic hip issues, back issues, sometimes I gotta do a bath just to get this little this little Skeletor out the door.
Can I ask you
those moments, and if it's a bath in the morning, I do have to follow up with a shower after the bath.
What got you in, like, what was the shift for you? Was there a moment, or was it just kind of looking for a way to reclaim your space and your time? Or were you just like, I need to sit in hot water and stew?
I mean, first of all, Kate, great question. I'm going to say that sometime between the 2016 election and the pandemic, I decided I needed to gallop into that water like a gazelle escaping all the lions. Yeah, I don't know. It's exactly kind of what not to keep being like it's what I wrote about, but I was so cocky when I wrote about not liking baths. I didn't mean to be, but it just goes to show that as you age, I guess you learn, I kind of wrote it like, it does seem like people who are taking a bath are kind of like, it's the only safe place to go at a certain point.
Mm-hmm.
Or that was like what I had picked up on, like watching like sort of bathing related commercials in the 80s when like Calgon Take Me Away stuff. Yeah, I'm in a very Calgon Take Me Away space. It seems like the only quiet place where you can be like left alone.
Yeah.
To have like a moment of pleasure.
I love that you just mention that feeling of like when you get older and you suddenly realize you were wrong about something, or you give yourself permission to change an opinion, which can be so freeing. Like that does feel like a gift that kind of comes with getting older. Oh, yeah.
Oh, there are so many things that you only understand. I guess once you arrive over this, little threshold is just like, everything does kind of hurt. Like the way I get out of bed now, ironically, I feel like it does look like when you see little videos of like what a baby horse looks like when it takes its first steps. Where it's just kind of like trying to get its legs underneath it and it's like, what am I doing? That's kind of what it looks like. Yeah. Just those first 120 seconds getting out of bed. It didn't used to feel that way. I would just get out of bed. I would just get up and go out of the bed. And now it's like, I have to like the first like 50 steps really hurt. I don't even know why. Wow. You're like, didn't know this would be wall to wall complaints, Jess.
No, I mean, that's like, that is, I think what part of this is, what midlife is it's not, I don't know if it's complaints. It's that realization that this is it. Like, I'm here now. Right? Like, oh, fuck. Like this shit caught up with me in some way. And I didn't think I would be the one. I don't know. It's like it's more processing, I think.
Yeah. It's like are we really here? And like when you're on a plane and you've landed and you're like, okay, we've stopped moving. Are we really, really here? And then the little bell dings. And it's like, bing. And you're like, oh, we're here. Stand up, get your bags. We're at this place now. Yeah.
One thing I have appreciated in all your writing is just your openness about your mental health, the struggle that presents in your life, the way it's kind of interwoven in your daily experiences with your son and work. And I wanted to know how your relationship to your mental health if it has changed as you get older. Do you feel like you understand it better, or is it one of those things where you're always kind of at that same, the relationship stays the same no matter how old you get?
Wow. I will tell you, I'm having like such a strong, deep wish that I could answer that it has changed or that I'm able to do anything better or differently. Sadly, for myself, I seem to just really be stuck in the mud with all my same my same patterns, I guess. As someone who struggles with at times like severe depression, really never met something I couldn't ruminate on never met a rabbit hole I didn't just fully slip and slide my way down. Yeah, I don't know. I really like just hearing you ask that question. I was like, God, I wish the truth was that things are different. But for me, unfortunately, the struggle, I feel like I've aged and come into some wisdom about like things about life. But in terms of like my specific brand of little mental struggles, they kind of are where they are. I hope that's not true for the people listening. I hope people are getting better.
It feels true for me, and maybe it's that that never changed. You know, that those you change through life, but what you're experiencing mental health wise doesn't. I don't know. In hearing you answer, I'm like, oh wait, Kate, nothing's changed. Like you you understand yourself better, but like the actual actions of your brain and the responses are still there. And it's exhausting. I mean, are you at peace with it? Do you feel like, or is it just something that it just is what it is?
I mean, I'm not at peace with it at all. I mean, look, I'm always trying, and I feel like when you get to be a certain age, you do at least you have, or at least I have, like I recognize like you've been through enough things that you can see patterns. You're like, okay, well, like the way I would react to, like the breakup I went through when I was like 22 was not the same as the breakup I went to like 15 years later or whatever. You're like, okay, this, when like even talking to like my dad, who's going to be 82, that's always an interesting perspective, like the sort of world events, not that he's not, horrified by things, but, like war in Ukraine, he's like, yeah, it's awful. He's like, wars end, it'll end. And like when the pandemic started, he's like, yeah, it's awful. Pandemics will end. It is a little bit of like a broad view of like the world will take its time, but like things move along. And so I sometimes can feel like an awareness of like, okay, understanding like this too shall pass type of, but it doesn't make the feeling as it's passing through, whatever it may be, any better. I'm really not the poster child for mental health.
I think you are, because I think that's a very accurate assessment about how people feel about it, right? It's like not something that we're going to fix. It's rather like something that we almost like take under our wing in a way, like it becomes part of us, Yeah.
I mean, the one thing I really would, I guess it's like, it's a real, what's the thing I'm looking for? Also, I feel like my brain has fully died. Like I'm looking for some like sort of common turn of phrase that I can't find right now. What I was trying to say is like, sometimes I wish I was a better compartmentalizer, like, the way men usually are. And I don't want to take things like too dark, but whatever, we live in hell. So we live in hell with moments of brightness that are spurred by incredible people doing incredible things and kind humans spreading kindness. But, this last week, the shooting in Texas, the one before that in Buffalo, the one before that, and the one before that. But in particular, the one in Texas, I couldn't do any work last week. I was in a very fortunate position to be able to like just cancel stuff I had to do. I mean, there are people obviously had to go to work, but I just couldn't. I was just flattened out, which in some ways feels like a rational reaction to what happened. But then like men that I know are like obviously also feel devastated and awful, but just can kind of not be thinking about it all day.
Well, you talk about that in your book, where there's like the privilege that men, and I think specifically white men, have of just like thinking everything's going to be okay, because that's how things mostly are for them. And that was very validating to read.
Well, or like, again, on a smaller scale of like, just like little life, daily, non-horrific things. Like, like I think of it as like, someone's gonna, like, men just think plants just keep growing, and it's like someone's watering them. I mean, have you ever seen a man water a plant in your fucking life? No. And it's like, someone's watering the plants all the time. And it's, I mean, expand that outwards as a metaphor in as many ways as you like.
Yeah.
And I don't want to hashtag not all men.
Jesse, I want to ask a question about writing about your son. I haven't written quite as extensively about my son as you have, but I do have a podcast with my husband where we talk about him, and I guess I'm asking this like both because I'm curious what you have to say and also to kind of like work on my own feelings about this. But like, does there come a point where you feel like you have to stop writing about Asher?
Oh, that's such a good question. Just in terms of like, at what point is it like sort of beyond like his consent, I suppose? Is that what
Yeah.
That's such a great question. I don't really have any answers. I feel like I do get asked, and I'm interested in the questions about in general, not just around kids, but it's like how you write about anyone you love, or people who are just still alive, and things you want to say about them, or write about. Obviously, with your children, it's even trickier. But I feel like for me, the North Star is like, with my North Star with humans in general, right, is like, don't write anything about anyone where I feel like I then couldn't like look them in the eye. Mm-hmm. Like if I can like stay in a room, like would I have to run away or feel hideous if I ran into this person? Like I couldn't talk about what was written. If I can't do that, then I'm not going to write it. In terms of Asher, am I writing about my son? I mean, this is really tricky territory too, because it's like one of the things about being both a mother and an artist, right? It's like you want to express yourself and tell your whole truth, but he will read this one day, or maybe he'll just be like, fuck right off. I don't know. I mean, how do you, Dory, please guide. What do you think?
I don't know. I mean, like I said, this is something that I'm sort of wrestling with. I mean, we have now several years of a podcast where we talked about, his conception via IVF, and then his birth and his infancy. And, there's also like a year's worth of podcasts where we talk about how we really want a girl, and then we had a boy. You know what I mean? It's like, he might listen to that. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I also don't know. I do know that like I feel like I keep reading about like OG mom bloggers who are like, they have kind of come out and said that they regret writing about their kids, and some moms on TikTok who have like stopped posting their kids. And I do feel like there is a line, but I don't know what it is. So yeah, there's my very ambiguous answer.
These are existential questions. I mean, for me, like I mean, I'm not really a big social media person to begin with, but I sort of decided early on I didn't want to like post any pictures of him. Like I just, for me, my, again, ruminations about safety and photos and all that stuff. I don't post any pictures of him. In terms of, I don't know, again, with like, it's a real struggle with like your ability to be free as an artist, which is something I think that your child would want you to see and to experience, like your freedom of spirit and sort of, I mean, that stuff, there's like so many benefits, I think, to that. Maybe it can all just be balanced out by, I mean, what's coming into my head is just to say, like, I think the most important, like thinking about my own childhood, it's like or the things that were working in it and the things that weren't, like that they'll all be fine as long as they're just like very fiercely and fully loved, and like everything else will come out in the wash. I don't know. That's the best I got.
I think it's a thing like every parent is thinking about, whether or not it's you're like an artist in any way or not. It's like that. I'm just posting them online as a whole, even letting them be online. I'm now in the age where like they want to go online.
Oh God.
Yeah. My oldest wants to write movie reviews, and I'm like that's amazing. But also like, I don't want you near the internet anyway.
Yeah. I can't, that is a whole,
it's a lot.
I'm not there yet.
It's coming for you. Don't worry.
I'm crouch.
You all be crouch soon.
Okay, well, let's take a quick break and we'll be right back.
Kate, I have a question for you.
I'm here. I'm ready to answer.
What is something you've been thinking about getting into recently?
Honestly, and I have not shared this, dance.
Dance. Okay. Well, guess what? Masterclass has a class for that.
I thank God, because I don't know where else to turn.
Well, and if you were into, let's say, philosophy,
okay,
they would have a class for that. And they have a class for learning more about makeup and beauty.
You know, I watched an amazing cocktail mixing class on Masterclass.
Yes.
It was so good. I tend to go for a lot of their food classes.
Yes, their food classes are very good.
So good. I've learned I didn't realize I could learn so much just like watching and reading, but I feel like I've improved significantly.
It's wild. And what's great about Masterclass is you can learn new skills, expand your knowledge, and the schedule is totally flexible to you. I just have to say, nowhere else can you really get this kind of access to some of the most renowned masters of their arts, like Issa Rae, Hillary Clinton, Mariah Carey, Shonda Rhimes, Bobby Brown, Anna Wintour. I mean, the list goes on and on. I've mentioned before that I've been learning poker from Daniel Negreanu, who, if you're not into poker, you might not be familiar with his name, but he's like the Shonda Rhimes of poker.
Okay. I am following. He's a big deal.
He's a big deal, and I have gotten much better.
You know what else I love about Masterclass? That you can dabble. Like,
yes.
You can explore something and see if you're into it. You can go deep. You can do it on your own schedule.
Yes. It's great.
It's so easy.
Yes. And so for $180, you get a year of unlimited access to all of the classes by these renowned masters. That's hundreds of video lessons from more than 100 of today's most brilliant minds that are available to you anytime, anywhere. So we both highly recommend you check out Masterclass. Get unlimited access to every Masterclass. And as a Forever 35 listener, you get 15% off an annual membership. Go to masterclass.com/forever35. That's masterclass.com/forever35 for 15% off Masterclass.
Dory, you know, I'm at the point in my life where I can handle like most smells. You know, it like comes with the territory once you have kids or pets, a partner. But like personally, my own armpits, if they're smelling, I can't handle it. Like, no.
Yeah. I mean, I think I was talking about this on the pod the other day, or I was talking about this with someone about how like it turns out when you take a bath, you don't actually get clean.
Yes.
Because I got out of the bath and I was like, woo, my pits are rank.
Well, listen, then I have some good news for you because Native deodorant is so great. They have their formula down. This is a plastic-free deodorant. It's aluminum and paraben-free, kills odor-causing bacteria, and it has 24-hour odor protection to keep you feeling fresh and smelling fresh. And I'm talking like fresh, and not just like a little fresh. I'm talking from my own personal experience. I put it on and went to the gym and my armpits still smell good. I did that this morning.
Ooh, okay.
Fresh. That's how fresh. And now that they have this formula down, they're doing their part to help our planet with their new 100% plastic-free and recyclable packaging. I think this is so awesome. When you buy Native's new plastic-free recyclable packaged deodorant, you are saving 37 grams of plastic. That's a lot.
That is a lot.
Native is also a proud partner of 1% for the Planet, and they are committing 1% of their plastic-free deodorant sales to environmental nonprofits. Native, I love it.
Oh, so great.
If you're ready to try plastic-free deodorant, go to nativedeo.com/forever or use promo code forever at checkout and get 20% off your first order. That's nativedeo.com/forever or use promo code forever at checkout for 20% off your first order.
All right, we are back.
I really enjoyed how Nate Berkus was a key part of your self-care as a person.
Oh yeah.
And
him as self-care.
I mean, like he and his husband both are, I mean, you write just like a really lovely essay about them. And then of course I watched the Today Show clip of them recording a video message to you, and it's all very sweet. And then you get to, I mean, like seems like a very big highlight, but throughout the book, you have like little reality TV moments mentioned, in particular their show. Is that like how you mentally shut off?
Reality TV?
Yeah. Or just Nate and Jeremiah in particular.
I mean, Nate and Jeremiah in particular, that came in so full circle. Here, I'm going to try and say something that's like a moment of hope. I mean, this book took so long to write, truly years and years. Some of it's on me. I procrastinated. In 2019, it was going to be due in 2020. And I was like, I've got time. And then the pandemic happened and I was like, fuck. Anyways.
Yeah.
But just sitting, writing these essays. And then I was like, I want to just sit and write one that just feels like it's just about something I love to think about, which is Nate Berkus and his husband, Jeremiah Brent. And, like just sitting alone in quarantine time, like could not have imagined that book would come out, that they would ultimately like read this essay, that I would end up on Today's Show, that they would make that video. And then that through also my delightful book agent, David Kuhn, that he would make it happen, that I would get to meet them and have a drink with them, and that they would be so kind and show up to like, just be such incredible sweeties. It was a real like, manifest moment of just remembering, like I was like, oh, I kind of manifested that happening in the weirdest way, not to be full white nonsense, but, yeah, sorry, that's a long roundabout response, but, yeah, I mean, I'm obsessed with them. I will say like a part of my self-care that I guess encompasses Nate and Jeremiah in particular is it's less like reality TV, although I love reality TV, and more like I can go down like a really just deep like Pinterest rabbit hole, like, and I do get very obsessed with just looking at pictures of nice spaces.
Yeah.
Like I could look at pictures of spaces forever and ever and ever.
Well, it's funny you focus on Nate and Jeremiah because their like Architectural Digest house tour videos, that's like my bath, those videos where you just are in a really expensive house that you'll never live in. It's so clean.
Kate, to what you were saying about those Architectural Digest, like come into my house things, which are also can be enraging. I mean, two sides to because the deep jealousy, the like fury of like, why don't I have that house? Whatever. It's also insane. But, I mean, just as like a native New Yorker, like for me, like the feeling of walking down the street, like at night, like I grew up in the Village and I would like walk down those streets, and I lived in a very, very, cannot say enough, very tiny apartment, and then would like walk past these like West Village townhouses and you'd see the lights on at night and like looking in a window.
I love it.
Just be like, and then those video tours now just deliver on that like little itch so beautifully. And I will also just say, just a pet peeve that I have in general, if anyone's listening and has like a gorgeous, beautiful house or any kind of house, honestly, when someone comes to your house or if I come to your house, I believe you must show the person visiting your entire house.
I want to see every nook and cranny.
Give me a tour. Stop hiding your house.
And I'll sneak off if, you know?
You got to show everybody your whole house. If you have especially if you have a fancy, big, rich person house, don't hide that shit. Don't pretend. Just show me the house. Sorry.
Jesse wants to see the house.
Show
Come on,
me the
everyone.
house.
I want to see the house. I'm with you.
I love staying inside of people's houses.
Jesse, we always wrap by asking people about their skincare practice, whether they have one or not. And if you do, if you have any products that you love that people should know about. So I'm going to pass that to you and see if there's anything you want to share.
There are a couple of things right now that I am loving. One that I recently, or like within the last year, discovered, which is I'm a zombie pale human being. So I've always liked adding like a very rosy cheek just to bring me to life. And I will say, Ilia, I-L-I, that makeup brand, which came after me on Instagram and targeted me. And man, did they hook, line, sinker get me. They make, I guess it's a multi-stick that you can use on your lips and your cheeks. It is a perfect amount of blush. A pop of color. They're all good tones. So an Ilia multi-stick is now part of my daily routine. And they're not expensive or very reasonable makeup price point. What else? I also have insane under eye circles that are just sort of genetically there no matter how much rest I get. And I'm pretty attached to a Chanel concealer.
Oh, interesting.
I mean, I just spackle that thing on. And then lastly, there's something I just started using that's like a CC cream or something. This is more than you guys wanted, but I'm like,
this is great.
No, this is what we all want to know. But again, I don't know that I'm the greatest at, but there's a CC cream made by Clay, CLE. That I've found, yeah, right. I love seeing the pen come out.
Never heard of Clay.
Wait, I want to make sure before we go, I just want to make sure that I have it right. Clay CC cream. Am I doing this correctly? Hold on. Yes, Clay, CLE. It's their CCC cream. It's really good because it's not too sheer coverage wise. Again, I need a lot of what the ladies call coverage. There's a lot to cover. So it's not too sheer. Nor is it too thick. Like it looks natural and it doesn't feel, here, wait, I'm going to send you a link, Kate. Cause
thank you very much.
Allure Mag is also endorsing Clay Cosmetics CCC cream.
You know, if I see that Allure Best of Beauty circle,
I know it really sells
a lot.
Right? Like,
it means a lot.
When did we do? I mean, props to Allure, but like for whatever reason, that seal of approval for me, it's like, okay, I'm in. Thank you, this magazine.
Props to Allure. I will also say because I do like over the years when Allure puts out their like best of whatever with the little stuff, I do think they do a good job vetting. Like, all of the products that have gotten the Allure's Good Housekeeping seal of approval, I have found all of those products to be really good products.
Same.
So anyway,
it's a worthy award.
It's a word. Yes, this is not like a critic's choice. This is not. Yes, Clay Cosmetics CCC cream, and it goes, just so you're aware, if you do order it, when you put it out in the tube, it comes out like very white looking, like no matter which tone you buy. And then you have to you rub it in your hands and it like adjusts, I don't know, the micro beads or whatever. I'm clearly not being paid by them to fully fuck up the pitch. But anyway, it'll come out of the tube looking like almost like sunscreen color. And you're like, what is it? And as you rub it on your face, it adjusts to your specific tone. Okay. Hopefully Clay will now.
Wow.
If I don't get a free tube of Clay for at least trying to, come on, Clay. Anyway,
Clay, she did great.
Clay.
That's what I got. Those are my three biggies. That's kind of my main thing.
Those are excellent.
Those are great.
We've had any of those mentioned. I also want to say I still don't feel like worthy of Chanel. And I think I need to buy myself a Chanel makeup product. Like, do you know what I mean? Like you sometimes are like, I can't.
Yes.
I need to do it. I need to just bite the bullet and go for a Chanel product.
I do enjoy a Chanel concealer, but yeah, That's what I'm hawking today, but paid by no one. These are my real products.
Amazing.
Oh, also Ilia mascara is the best mascara.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Okay. That's it. That's what
I agree.
All right. I'm glad. Because you both look great. So obviously I will hit you up I'm sure you've talked about it a million times, but you need to have that list on paper.
Thank you. I had skin lasering done today. So
you did?
Yes. And like, I don't think you can really tell on the camera, but my freckles are like,
I can't tell because you're a little
coming
zoom wavy.
Yeah. So
I can't see.
To me, I look crazy right now. So it's like funny.
Can I ask one question before we go?
Yes, of course.
I feel like in the last 2 years now, it's like, am I doing something dumb by not getting lasers? Everyone I know is now getting lasered up, and I haven't been lasered in any way.
This is the first time I've done it. So I will report back. Jessie, where can our listeners find you if they want to follow along with you and your work?
They can find me on Instagram, where I am your acquaintance, Jessie Klein. That's probably the best place. I don't even want to give out my Twitter handle because right now it's just me screaming.
Yeah.
You get a much more civilized version of me if you stick to that Insta feed.
Well, your book is I'll Show Myself Out. It's wonderful. It was such a pleasure to have you on.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming on the pod and talking to us about all these things.
Thank you. You guys are the best. I appreciate it so much.
Another idol added to the list of guests for me. I mean, just the coolest. I just love getting to talk to Jessie. Cool. All right. So, Dory, did you clean off your desk?
I most certainly did not.
Well, that's fine. Another intention lost to the wind.
Kate, how did you do figuring out how to slow down and enjoy summer?
Oh my God, Dory. LOL. fucking L. Turns out I'm going to be on a big book deadline, and in everything chaotic is happening in the month of June. For me, it's like my family's visiting, my husband's family's visiting, my kids are going to camp. One kid goes to sleepaway camp. It's a lot of moving pieces. We don't have, my kids are home a lot because they're not in camp all the time. They keep wandering in because they don't think that what I'm doing is working. It's just, I will say though, that one thing that my intention for this week, even though I am on a tight deadline, I have a lot on my plate. I had therapy yesterday. And what I am trying to do is figure out how to take care of myself and find some balance when I'm on a really stressful deadline. Because what I tend to do when I am in a major work push, I tend to throw everything I do to take care of myself out the window almost on purpose. And I become this non-sleeping, non-showering, forgetting to eat or only eating cheese sticks all day kind of. It's almost like a bit of a manic energy I get when I'm on a deadline. And so what I am trying to do is maintain some boundaries for myself. I want to keep exercising. I want to maintain an early bedtime. I want to wake up and work. So that is my intention for this week. Figuring out how not to lose my mind on a deadline, but rather incorporate balance so that I can really focus, work really hard, but also take a deep breath and feel calm at the end of the day.
I mean, yeah, that's the challenge.
Easier said than done, but you know what? I'm here. I'm going to intent really hard this week and see how it goes. How about you?
Well, I'm just going to, call back to something I mentioned at the beginning of the show, which is move my bod. That's just going to be my intention for this week.
I can't wait to hear how it goes. Cause it's I love the openness of anything counts because we put so much pressure on ourselves to move in certain ways. But I love even 30 minutes of gardening.
Yeah, for sure. If I had a garden, that would definitely count.
Well, Dory, let us share that Forever 35 is hosted and produced by us, Story Shafrir and Kate Spencer, and it's produced and edited by Sam Junio. Sammy Reed is our project manager, and our network partner is Acast. And we thank you all so much for listening.
Bye.